Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to The Champion Within. Today's topic is a very serious topic, and it really deserves more attention than we're giving it. And in this community, I think we can have an impact on the subject that I'm about to talk about. What am I referring to? Well, folks, the American medical system is in crisis. It is in crisis. I spent some time yesterday and today looking up some statistics to share with you and why I feel so passionately about this subject. As you can see, I've got my stethoscope here. Some of you may or may not know, I've spent 20 years of my life working in healthcare as a paramedic, a direct provider of healthcare. I've taken care of many very sick people in the pre-hospital setting. Even worked in the hospital emergency room for about 6 months, and then decided to go back to working in the field as a paramedic. And I can tell you that it was not uncommon for us to go pick up people that weighed 500-600 pounds and were completely immobile and had 12 or 15 pills they had to take 2 or 3 times a day. They were just what we refer to as a medical mess. And this is becoming more and more prevalent. Well, what does that have to do with the carnivore diet? I think it has everything to do with the carnivore diet. Let me give you some statistics that I just pulled up over the last 24 hours. The population of the United States, and I know there's some of you guys that watch me from other countries, and I do appreciate that. This may or may not apply to you, the first part, but I think it applies to all Western nations to some degree. In the United States, at the last census, there's 331 million Americans. 41.9% of those are overweight or obese. That's 132 million. Let that sink in. 132 million Americans who are overweight or obese. And those statistics are over a year old, so it could be more now. And then how many American citizens are what we refer to as TOFIs? Thin on the outside, fat on the inside. So they look thin to look at them, but if you did a CT scan of their abdomen, you would see they have a lot of visceral fat wrapped around the organs, which is extremely inflammatory and is responsible for a lot of cardiac disease, cardiac death, strokes, things of that nature, even cancer. Well, in 2018, this is the most recent statistics we have. In 2018, so 5 years ago now, 554,000 Americans, 500,000 Americans, 554,000 Americans were on dialysis. Now, there are probably some people who are on dialysis from congenital reasons, but the overwhelming percentage of people who are on dialysis is because of poor dietary choices and from bad information given to us by the medical industry. This 19%, $4.3 trillion. Let me start over. We spend in this country, the United States, we spend $4.3 trillion on healthcare. But let's call it what it really is. Let's call a spade a spade. It's not healthcare, it's sick care. Because there are large investment groups out there, BlackRock and several others, that invest tons of money in big pharma and big hospitals, big hospital conglomerates, and they have a vested interest, a financial interest, in you not being well, you being sick. If you're sick, the sicker you are, the more services you need, the more pills you need, the more doctors you need, the more x-rays you need, the more scans you need, the more dialysis you need, the more insulin you need. They make money. Now, having said that, don't get me wrong. I am a capitalist at heart. I'm from America. I'm a capitalist. And I believe that you should make a return on investment. But where I draw the line is when you make a profit by someone else's suffering, even to the point of suffering to death. That's where we are in this country in 2023. People are profiting because you are dying. How does that relate to the carnivore diet? Well, we have, at this point, probably tens of thousands of testimonials on YouTube and other places of people who were extremely metabolically unhealthy, who have adopted a carnivore or ketovore way of eating and have reversed a myriad of health conditions. They're no longer taking pills. They're no longer needing to see the doctor on a very regular basis. Like myself, for example. My blood pressure has gone just in 3 months. Today is day 90, by the way. I was going to do a 90-day update, but I'm going to save it for 100 days. I get 10 more days to 100. On the 100th day, I will do an update on my progress over 100 days. So today I'm talking about, just the tremendous burden that this healthcare crisis is, and how being a carnivore, ketovore, even a low-carb ketogenic diet can help with this problem. So when I first started, a personal note, when I first started the carnivore diet in July, in August I thought, I should go get all my lab work done. I'll call my doctor. I have good insurance. The place I work offers Blue Cross Blue Shield insurance, so I have good insurance. I'll just go see the doctor, pay my $40 copay, and get my blood work done. So I called the doctor's office to make an appointment. This is the first week of August. And they told me the very first opening they could possibly get me in would be January 23rd. What? This is August. January of next year? They're just booked solid. They have so many sick patients. They have so few doctors, so few nurse practitioners and physician's assistants. They just are swamped. And if you go there on an emergency or ride by there, I ride by my doctor's office going to work, the parking lot is always packed. There's nowhere to park. And, this is just a doctor's office. This is not a clinic. This is not an urgent care. And this is not a hospital. What does that tell you about the state of the healthcare in America? If you call to make an appointment with your doctor, and the first appointment you can get essentially 5 to 6 months away, a half a year away. Well, I went ahead and made the appointment because I still want to get all my lab work done and see my doctor. But those numbers will be pretty much meaningless because by then all of my markers should be, back to a normal level. There will be no way to tell where I was to where I'm at. Now, I could go one of the private ones like ownyourlabs.com. I'm considering doing that, but we'll see. That will be, my insurance won't pay for that, so that will be an out-of-pocket expense. I'll take it in consideration. Some of you may or may not know I spent 20 years. This is my stethoscope. I used this for the 20 years I worked in healthcare. I was a paramedic. As I said at the beginning, I was a paramedic, and I've seen all kinds of trouble with sickness. So let me pose one question to you to bring it really home to the carnivore diet, what I'm referring to here. Who do you think would need a doctor more? This person? Or this person? So let's take a look at another way that this health crisis, I won't call it a healthcare crisis, it's just a health crisis, affects our country. This could affect you, and it probably affects me to a great degree. I'll go into that in a minute. But according to retireguide.com, 66.5% of all bankruptcies in America are a direct result of medical expenses. Families going bankruptcy, families being ruined, couples, husbands and wives being ruined because of medical debt. Because, you have to claim bankruptcy or they'll hound you to death. They'll take your house. They'll put a lien on your property. So 66.5% of all bankruptcies in America are a direct result of past due medical bills. And according to government analysis, over 100 million, let that sink in, 100 million Americans struggle with paying medical debt. Why is any of this happening? Why is any of this happening in a country as rich as ours? You know why? Because we're eating garbage. We're eating food-like substances that aren't food at all. No food in the food substance. There's these things called food manufacturing plants. The hell is that? Food manufacturing plants? Food isn't manufactured. It's grown, either in cows, chickens, or in the ground. We don't need to manufacture food. Go to your local grocery store. Count the number of aisles of prepackaged processed food. And then go over and look at the produce section or the meat section. I mean, think about that. The meat section at my local grocery store is just the back wall. That's it. Some eggs, some cheese, some dairy. The produce section is just the one side wall and one row of bins there for the vegetables. The rest of the 100,000 square foot or however many square feet it is processed garbage that is not food, that your body, your DNA is not designed to ingest ever. How many rows of soda and fruit juice are in the grocery store? There's more soda and fruit juice in the grocery stores than there is meat. Those statistics I just gave you about bankruptcies and dialysis and all the things that are going on, folks, we can connect the dots. Those two things are related, I promise you. What does that have to do with the carnivore diet? Well, consider this. Every person that goes carnivore and eliminates their high blood pressure, their diabetes, their metabolic syndrome, their eczema, rosacea, their mental health issues, all these things plus that are resolved through the carnivore diet, that frees up hospital bed space and doctors and nurses for people who don't adopt the carnivore diet. Isn't that a sad state of affairs? That pretty much it's up to us, those who are carnivore, ketovore, or maybe even a low-carb keto diet, to try to free up the medical industry to take care of those that don't adopt this way of eating. Now, obviously, having been a paramedic for a lot of years, I've seen trauma. People fall off ladders. People fall sweeping off their roof. People are in car accidents. People get shot. People get stabbed. I've been to all those 10,000 times. And those people need a hospital. They need a doctor. They need an ambulance. But if we continue going the way we're going, and there's so much burnout within the medical industry, I can tell you that recently I saw a Facebook post by a former coworker of mine who's leaving emergency medicine because she simply cannot take it anymore. It is so stressful. These nurses and doctors and EMTs and paramedics are so exhausted, especially with the thing that went on in 2020 and 2021. That sent a lot of people into different lines of work. Heck, look at me. I work for a home improvement store. I don't work on an ambulance or in a hospital anymore. Imagine the day when you call 911 because you've broken your ankle, you've fallen off your mountain bike, and nobody shows up. Nobody's coming. So I saw a carnivore video this morning, somebody talking about taking your health into your own two hands. Folks, this is what you need to do right now. If you're not on the carnivore diet or ketovore or a low-carb keto diet, or heck, even vegan. I mean, if you're eating garbage, if you're not paying attention to what you're putting in your body, you are literally playing Russian roulette. Because what's going to happen if these hospital systems start going out of business? In some parts of the rural part of this state, some hospitals have literally closed down and gone out of business, laid everybody off. Ambulance services are struggling. They're desperate to find people to come to work. They're paying people now pretty good money just to drive the ambulance so that somebody more trained can be in the back with the patient. We've hit a crisis in this country. We truly have. The only way we can fix it is to stop eating garbage and to get up and move our bodies more. Folks, I hope these statistics woke you up. I hope they make you think. If you have loved ones who are still eating garbage, carbs, all this stuff, think about where they're going to be in 10 years. And think about that time when they grab their chest, they're having a heart attack, and you dial 911 for them, and nobody shows up. Hate to end the video on such a sour note, but the hope is that we can really turn things around. We can change our lives and change the lives of others by sharing this message. Thank you for watching. Just a quick note talking about moving your body. I got up this morning, went to the local park, wearing my step counter here, my imitation Apple Watch, and I was able to walk 7 miles. Took me right at 2 hours and 10 minutes, but I walked without stopping, without slowing down, 7 miles. Folks, just 3 months ago, I could not walk 7 steps without being out of breath. And today, I walked 7 miles in just a little over 2 hours. I was listening to a podcast about the carnivore diet, imagine that. And it was a 2-hour-long podcast. And when I finished the podcast, I was back in my car and I looked down. I had walked like 7.1 miles in just over 2 hours. That's amazing. So hopefully I won't be needing that health care, that ambulance, those doctors and nurses anytime soon. And that, my friend, will free up space for those who don't adopt a carnivore, ketovore, or low-carb keto diet because they're going to need it. And with that, I'm signing off. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I love you. Please give me a like, subscribe, leave me a comment. Do you have any experience with a broken medical system? Am I on the right track? Am I making good sense with what I'm postulating here? You tell me. Love you, and we'll see you tomorrow.